Delving into the text of Ruth was a very exciting and edifying endeavor. What thrilled me most was the ability to get to now behind the text rather than relying on the interpretations of others present in available English translations. Specific words that grabbed my attention in this new way of looking at it in new ways were Shuv and Kesed. The word Shuv is used over and over in the Book of Ruth. It is defined as return or turn back, but does not have purely physical connotations. According to Ellen Davis, this word frequently represents a profound spiritual reorientation, a turning to God and away from false worship. As such, Naomi's return is much more than physical. Her husband and sons all turned away from God's law, and now Naomi is left to repent and turn back not only to Bethlehem, but to God. In verse 6, Naomi shuvs, but we're left to ask if it was a genuine return to God, or if she's just returning to the food that God had given her people. In verses 8 and 11, Naomi tells her daughters-in-law to return. Was she wanting them to return to God, or return to her people, or was she just telling them to shuv off? In verse 10, Ruth and Orpah say they will return to Naomi's people, but how can they return if they'd never been there? In the end, we're left to wonder if Naomi ever does return in a spiritual sense, or just in a physical sense. That question is answered near the end of the book, but is an open question in the first chapter. The other word that captured my attention was the word Kesed. It only appears in the text one time, but its echoes are heard throughout. The New Interpreter's Bible Dictionary contrasts two words that are used for love in Hebrew. Ahav is typically referred to denote feelings, while Kesed is used to focus on actions. Quoting, in particular, actions of kindness or demonstrations of loyalty are called for when one person is in some kind of serious trouble, in need of some sort of extraordinary assistance, and another person is uniquely in a position to provide that needed help. The connotations of graciousness and mercy are present within these acts because they so often deal with dire circumstances and call for action beyond what would usually be needed or expected within a relationship. The primary definition, according to Holliday, is obligation to the community, with its common connotations of loyalty and kindness. The word also contains the meanings favor, kindness, grace, godly deeds. But an alternative definition is disgrace. While these negative connotations are not normal, we need to keep them in mind. In verse 8, Naomi offers a parting blessing to her daughters-in-law. May the Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead in me. The word translated kindly is chesed. So we have to wonder, could it be translated, may the Lord deal with you disgracefully as you have with the dead in me? I was struck in this text by how actions speak louder than words. While it was Naomi that speaks of chesed, it was the girls that demonstrated or do chesed. The girls both demonstrate their loyalty and love for Naomi by insisting that they will return to Bethlehem with her. Typically, verse 10 reads, no, we will return with you to your people. But in the Hebrew, the preposition ki suggests that the Hebrew should be translated as because of you, we will return to your people. Kesed is done most fully in verse 14 that ends the section I was working with. The final words in this section is that Ruth cleaved to Naomi. This is the same word that is used in Genesis when a man will leave his home and cleave to his wife. Ruth is demonstrating here the undying devotion, the loyal kindness, and the self-giving love that truly describe what chesed is. This Moabite woman, this enemy, this foreigner, is showing Naomi what her God expects of her.